and be prepared to work ungodly hours. Working across time zones can be exhausting. Therefore, it's very, very important that you take a commitment from everyone in your company who's going to be involved in these overseas operations. While doing this, don't defocus on your domestic market. It's one of the best business shock absorbers you may have. The more you expand internationally, the more attractive you become even locally. So keep enough dedicated resources to handle your local business. The third point I would like to stress upon is to examine your master service agreements and contracts thoroughly before you enter into them. Don't accept contractual terms as given, as majorly they tend to be one-sided. In our eagerness to win new jobs in a new market, we very often are happy to sign off on any dotted line presented to us. It is important to sustain rather than complete a transaction, which could actually lead to losses. Therefore, please watch out for these clauses. First one, legal jurisdiction. For example, someone may ask you to comply with laws of the state of New York. Accept only if you know what those laws are, or if you can retain a lawyer and pay him to help you study the laws of state of New York. Arbitration clauses. Choose neutral places such as Singapore. Avoid open indemnification clauses. Study carefully clauses related to liquidated damages and punitive charges. Recently at Vimta, we were trying to get into a master service agreement with one of the MNCs, global MNCs. And they said, if your testing report is wrong, then you would be responsible for all the market recalls and related charges. Now we gave them the example of Maggie. We told them that if by chance my report is wrong and you had to recall all your Maggie packets, then it would cost me 600 crores. Am I even capable of paying you 600 crores? So be careful about what you commit in the contracts. Look for and avoid clauses that encumber you with future liabilities. Always limit your liabilities and make sure they are quantifiable for you. When it comes to pricing, first of all, it has to be realized that one cannot enter global markets with meager operating margins. More than decent bottom lines are required to absorb your initial investments and to absorb many invisible costs. Secondly, in pricing, always ensure there is a provision for cost escalation. A price lock-in period has both its upside and downside depending upon the period of lock-in. So think about that. Enter into periodically renewable contracts. Open-dated contracts are never a good idea. Confidentiality clauses. This is especially very important in the field that we work in. They should be taken very seriously, and people in your organization should be educated and periodically refreshed on the salient requirements of the confidentiality clauses. And always connect legal people with legal people. Our experience is that very often legal people overseas are open to convincing and tenable arguments, especially if put forth by a legal counterpart. In case you are agreeing to some key performance indicators or service level agreements in your master service agreement, request for a trial period of at least 3 to 6 months before they become enforceable. Use this trial period to train your people and align your processes to deliver as per expectations. And lastly, my fourth point, be adaptive. Know your customer. Know their cultures and philosophies. What works in India will most certainly not work in USA or Brazil or any other place. Almost all nations have their own unique culture and ways of going about their business. Build your cultural intelligence and be adaptive to their needs. It is very likely that they may not change for you, but you have to mold to adapt to their requirements. Create an ethical relationship that suits the cultural needs of that country. Transparency, integrity, flexibility, prompt and clear communications, lots of documentation, timelines being met consistent quality of deliverables are some of the things that we need to focus on. Even small things such as dress code, how you greet a person, do you offer any hospitality or entertainment when they are visiting you or you're visiting them, these things are very, very important. So try to understand what the culture is, what the expectation is, because small things go a long way in building strong relations and partnerships. Now, having shared my learnings, I would like to take a few more minutes to conclude my talk by mentioning a couple of challenges we face in our home country as an exporter of scientific services. In order for us to provide testing and research services, very often we are importing testing material. It could be chemicals, consumables, it could be standards, or even samples from overseas. There is a lack of consistency in customs clearance processes, which poses a significant challenge for us. This problem affects the promises we make to our customers on timelines and impacts our reliability. We are expecting a consignment to be cleared in 4 weeks, but suddenly it has taken 3 months and not 4 weeks. So during import of material, there have been instances where different approaches and interpretations have been applied on the same item, leading to widely varying estimates of duty values. The customs clearance time for the same product could vary significantly from time to time, like I said. A move towards creating uniformity and consistency of applied rules across all ports and airports would greatly expedite clearances and reduce disputes, and help businesses predict timelines for their customers. Customs personnel who appraise and supervise can be given more training on taking faster decisions. They should be facilitated with easy-to-use reference databases of previous assessments. Trainings and refresher courses would strengthen the department, is what we think. Also, exposure to customs practices in countries where international trade is much larger than ours, training on site at such locations can help us to improve and improvise at our ports. IT-enabled processes could be examined to add value. Web-based filings using authenticated digital signatures, web-based assessments, e-payment facilities could assist in pre-clearances, less demurrages, predictive costs, and consistency across all ports and airports. Also, frontline officers should be empowered to take decisions based on reasonable and objective determination of documentation presented. As long as the entire reasoning is documented, the frontline officers should not be penalized for the decisions they have taken. Secondly, there should be some predictability in tariffs and rules that are imposed on us. The recent cess of 0.5% add-on service taxes with just 15 days notice pushes the entire long-term service export contracts into uncertainties. We just happen to enter into new contracts with our customers from moving up from 12.5% to 14% tax, and then within 15 days we go back and tell them, sorry, it's not 14%, it's now 14.5%. So nobody wants to listen to you. So predictability of tariffs, at least annually, or at least with a lead time of 6 months for implementation, would help the service exporters better negotiate their contracts. Thirdly, transparency can be enhanced. India is a signatory to GATT and WTO. Tariffs around the world and between member states is well documented. The various countries also collect a lot of information, exchange information, interact a lot also with each other. Our suggestion is that if such interactions and discussions, if they can be uploaded onto the websites, then we as stakeholders can look at them and share alternatives or suggestions that could benefit our industry. The Indian government can review them and later accept or reject them with explanatory notes. So finally, as a concluding remark, I wish to humbly propose a risk-based approach to rate and assist the exporter and importer communities to be more effective in their international endeavors. The government can over a period of time develop a rating system for the exporters and importers based on their prompt and accurate filings, history of disputes on tariffs, prompt payments, countries of origin, etc. Based on a points rating system, a pilot scheme can be tried out for eligible importers and exporters to enable them to clear their goods in customs as fast as domestic cargo. Of course, any misuse detected during a random check should make the company lose its higher rating for a year or two. I hope the suggestions will be duly considered by CII to present to the government for their consumption. Thank you.